YouTube Nation, Maven TV, aka Me TV, aka Of Mice and Men. I'm going to talk about that. Some of you mice out there. That's right, some of you little cowards. But you know what? We're going to do all the explanation today. We're going to put it all out there and get it out of the way and give you all the information so that you know what's going on. For those who don't know what I'm talking about what happened earlier this week. Now, people, I'm sure you all saw the trolling. I'm sure you all saw what happened. For those who don't know, okay? Some coward who apparently watches the show, who is still a faceless coward and won't show his face. I'll put it like this. If you're watching my show and you've been doing this for a while, why are you still watching it? Really? It makes you look very immature, but you know it doesn't matter, all right? Because you're nobody. He puts it on a certain website, right, and lies to them about me, right? And they get the notion, instead of being smart enough to watch the video and understanding what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Platinum Games, that's what we're going to talk about today, because this is what it's all about, all right, about Platinum Games. You'd think that you'd be smart enough, if you didn't know the whole story, that you'd come ask me, you know what I mean, before making a judgment, okay, what actually happened. And some of you did, so I thank you for that. I really do. All right, but a lot of these people, we all saw it before they took it down. All the racial statements, all this tough guy talk under anonymous names, right? We all saw it. It was absolutely ridiculous. But, you know what I mean? You just roll off your shoulder, you let it roll off your back, you keep going. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't bother anybody. But these guys are thinking that I am so mad at Kamiya because of what he said about PlayStation All-Stars, which is the dumbest thing you can do. So when I'm sitting here reading these comments, I'm just like this. If only they knew. What the hell's wrong with these dudes? You know what I mean? But they're just acting up. It's random insanity. It makes no sense. And some of you guys from that site came over and was like, this doesn't represent all of us. Not all of us act this way. And I agree. It doesn't. All right. So I like your site. I don't have a problem with it. You guys get some good information at times. It leaks down, the pipe. So I don't have a problem with that. But it's amazing to see how many idiots just decide to just take somebody's word and just run with it instead of actually understanding the situation. So today, I'm going to explain that situation. You know what? Better yet, I got the person who it actually happened to, because that's what this is all about. This happened on Twitter. That's right, about Kamiya, Platinum Games, and some of their employees and how they treat customers. That's what this was about. This was not about PlayStation All-Stars. I don't know where the hell this is what I mean about your scope being way too small. Way too small, all right? Instead of just asking somebody so you can get some perspective, you decide to just jump to conclusions, which is the dumbest thing. Jumping to conclusions is a bitch, man. It makes you look so bad. But anyways, I got Bishop Shatter here today to tell you guys exactly what happened. All right, and because I'm showing you this today, because, he has his own channel, but because he made the video so long, YouTube only gives him 15 minutes to explain the situation. But there's more that needs to be said on this, all right? So, guys, I hope you enjoy this, and this is the truth.
This is your boy, Shatter. I'm just sitting here just pretty much just voicing my opinion about what happened within the last 2 months or so between myself as a consumer and one particular Platinum Games. I really won't put too much blame on Platinum Games. I will actually just putting the blame on more, or pretty much just sitting there just, waving my finger at these two individuals that just so happen to work for a particular company. Now, I want to state the one that's, to me, is not that big of an issue, but I really want to get that squashed on my side. What I really want to get squashed is with JP Kellum, working for Platinum Games. He's the English translator. He does a lot of writing for some of the games. He does even a little bit more than that. I won't get too much into that because, to be perfectly honest, at this point, I kind of don't care. But I will voice my opinion as the positive side of JP and the negative side that I just saw recently of JP. I will say that initially this guy, he's really smart. He can speak different languages. I give him props on that. What I really liked about what he did with Max Anarchy is when he was getting in touch with a lot of artists that I liked personally, and the things that he did with those artists, like B Styles, like Arif S. Kenshin, and even Dilated Peoples. I was really proud to see that. And at one point, I did want to bring up this guy to main event and sit there and say, hey, look at Platinum Games. They're not like all these other companies like EA, Capcom. They're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what you probably should do is, if you get a chance, we can set up something and just have a little interview. I don't know how it's going to be done exactly, but Skype or something like that. Just take it from there. Other than that, I've spoken to him a few times. I did ask him one particular question. He didn't exactly answer it because he felt that he had answered that question enough, and he wanted to take the Kamiya route, where if you know anything about Hideki Kamiya, or how you pronounce his name, he pretty much, if he gets the same question over and over again, he'll pretty much copy a link of his response, and he'll copy that link over and over and over, pretty much showing you how many people has asked that same question. And there's been times where I've seen like 10 to 15 responses to the same. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty deep. But he wanted to do that to me, but he just said, no, I'm just going to give you the links so you can find the answers yourself. And I was kind of like, all that effort for you to look for the links, you could have just spent no more than 10 seconds just answering the damn question. It's a simple question. But that was okay. I went, I did what I did, and I found the answer. Wasn't crazy about the answer, but I didn't make a big deal about it. I just left it alone. Other than that, the other good part that I've seen with JP is that I saw that there was a situation after the Miami Heat had won the championship. I will put an asterisk beside that. But other than that, he was stating that he was proud to see that the Miami Heat won a championship, but he also wanted to state that his father used to be a reporter, but he wasn't available. He's not alive anymore, and he wasn't, he's not available, and he's not able to see this physically in this, on this earth, to taking part and celebrate along with these guys. So even though me speaking as a Boston Celtics fan, as a fan, but I'm still a human being, so I never really came at him or said anything to him about that. I just let him, because for some reason he felt compelled to say whatever he wanted to say on Twitter. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with JP has done as an employee of Platinum Games when it comes to that aspect. I respect him for all the stuff that he's done with that. This is the only instance, this is probably the first instance where I felt that JP was getting lost, or he was basically just having a bad day. So this is the bad part that I want to talk about. The bad part is that I just happened to see a link that Main Event posted that was about Borderlands 2 and how guys were making multiplayer for the game themselves. And I later saw, down the line, somebody did the same thing for Just Cause 2, and I was like, well, damn. It's a damn shame that gamers have to do this shit when developers should have did it themselves the first time. So I was kind of just sitting there, I was just showing him this link, and I'm just like, man, that's pretty crazy. And he was just sitting there like, oh, that just shows that gamers really don't care about such and such and such, and basically they just do whatever the hell they want. And I was like, wait a minute, man, that's not exactly why I showed you this link. I was showing you that this company was being too lazy to do this shit. Because the funny thing is, multiplayer is on console, yet it's not on PC. That's what I was showing you. I wasn't showing you that, hackers gonna be hackers, or haters gonna hate. Well, it wasn't that type of situation. I'm just sitting there saying, damn, that's pretty stupid for somebody to have to sit there and take their time off to get something as a feature in a game that should have been there and is not there. Well, he kind of was like, well, basically he became a little defensive and curious as to why I was just asking him that particular question. And I was just like, well, man, I'm just sitting here just pointing this out to you. It's not really a question. But I am questioning you. Why would you respond like that? And then he was just like, well, what is this about? I was like, well, now since you're being so defensive, this kind of makes me wonder if you feel the same way as the guys who made this game versus what you've done with your game. From that point on, it went downhill. It shouldn't have went down like that, especially after he said that, you know, why am I even, because I missed this. If it wasn't for other people pointing this out, I would never even saw that comment. People pointing out that he said, well, you're not even a customer. I was like, whoa, I've talked to this guy so many damn times about this game, getting this game. I actually even pre-ordered the game. So yes, in fact, I am a customer. But by you saying that stupid shit, now I'm feeling that I need to reconsider my decision and possibly just go ahead and not even deal with this shit at all. Because I'm like, I'm not even mad at you. I'm not mad at anyone else at Platinum Games. To be perfectly honest, who am I really upset with? I'm really upset with Sega. And I've been stating that on your Twitter multiple times, sitting here saying it's a damn shame that Platinum Games and Max Anarchy is not getting any props from the quote-unquote blue side. The blue side is not repping Anarchy Reigns in any way, shape, or form. If you go on their Twitter right now, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see nothing but sweepstakes, something about Sonic Boom. I guess there's some type of eatery place that they got. And they give away codes and shit. You're shutting down companies in other countries, and you've already decided that you're not going to make AAA titles, yet you're giving your shit away. And you're trying to promote that? How is that business? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how is that really that good? And then on top of that, your best title that's supposed to be coming out right now, a new IP, and you're not even promoting it? I was sitting there going to Sega way back in February. I was saying, why don't I see any Max Anarchy trailers on Adult Swim? Why am I not seeing anything, hell, on a small company like G4? Anything like that. I don't see you guys promoting this game at all. Guess what? They don't respond. They never respond. I even had a guy from Shiruka.com pretty much troll them hard, gave them just a hard-nosed comment on Twitter, and once again, they didn't respond. And I said, I find it funny that Sega's been around for a very long time, and now we fast forward to 2012, and these guys aren't responding to any comments, yet we have 2 individuals working for a company that really is not that well known. Let's be real. They're not that well known. They're known, but they're not as known as Capcom. Hell, these are guys that work for Clover, yet Clover is more known than Platinum Games. So I'm sitting here listening to these 2 guys who really just say whatever the hell they want to say, yet they don't take the notes from the guys that pretty much write their checks. You would never put out a game if it wasn't for Sega, yet Sega does not promote you. Okay, if these guys were pimps, they're really not using the pimp hand right now. They're not coming down with the smackdown. They're not sitting here keeping you guys in line. Because if anything, somebody should be keeping you guys in check and sitting there saying, hey, this is how it's done. You need to talk like this. You need to talk like that. And if you don't like their comments, don't respond to them. And something that I just realized off of a particular site, I won't even state their name. These guys were calling not only me, but Main Event a nigger and a faggot. Okay, you guys don't know, especially me, you guys really don't know me from a can of paint. And you want to sit here and talk to me like that. I'm going to say the same thing that I had to put somebody else in their place on a forum, is pretty much say it clear as day. Can you say it to my face? No, you cannot. And even if you could, you would not. Because the thing is, you're a coward. You would never speak to anyone like that. You haven't spoken to anyone like that. And you never will speak to anyone like that physically. You'll never do it. So why are you sitting here on your fat ass, possibly, just sitting there, scratching your butt, and typing on your keyboard that probably really needs to be clean right now, because God knows what you've been doing lately, and you want to sit here and call people niggers and faggots? I'm not cool with that at all. That's not what Negro Install represents. That I'm speaking as for my own company that I got with my t-shirts. Yes, I have Negro on my shirt. But do you realize Negro is not a negative word? It's the people who try to change it and make it something that it wasn't. So that's what I'm sitting there saying. You guys really didn't understand what the hell was going on. You jumped to conclusions and you ran with it. That's not what the video game community is supposed to be about. Now, I'm going to sit here and touch base on Kamiya-san. I will state that I never knew this guy until probably in the past 4 years. Yet, I've played Devil May Cry 1, I played Resident Evil 2, and what you'll call Biohazard. I never played Okami, and I've never played Beautiful Joe, either one of them. And to be perfectly honest, this really doesn't change my opinion about him at all. This doesn't change my opinion about Bayonetta. It doesn't change my opinion about Devil May Cry. I've already bought these games. One of them, well, to be perfectly honest, both franchises I bought twice. Other than that, when it comes to Devil May Cry 1, that was my favorite game. It's still my favorite game. It'll always be my favorite game. But, excuse me, but that doesn't really change my opinion about the game. Nor does this change my opinion about Kamiya. I don't know this guy from a can of paint either. But when I got on Twitter, I thought that was a good chance to get to know him. And I've already stated to these other idiots that thought when I was talking to Kamiya that I was just basically just purposely getting under his skin. And I said, no, that shit was unintentional. So it's funny that I had an unintentional situation with Kamiya the first time, then it branched off to Kellum. Yet, Kamiya and Kellum are sometimes how they associate, they seem like booty buddies. I'm not trying to imply anything, but I'm just going based off of what I see. You guys are really buddy-buddy. You really are. Every time Kamiya says something witty, guess who's backing them up? I don't know if y'all remember that cartoon from Looney Tunes where the bulldog is walking around, he got his little hat on, and then he got this little dog by him, he's all hyper and stuff, and he's trying to figure out what the big bulldog wants to do, and he's giving him suggestions and suggestions and suggestions, just over and over and over, and then the bulldog's like, he slaps him across the face, and he goes, nah. That's kind of what they remind me of. And Kellum just keeps getting back up and just like, oh, well, that's not a good idea, let's try something else. And that's kind of how they are. Now, and the funny thing is, at the end of that cartoon, they had to switch roles. For some reason, the bulldog became a punk, and the little dog became, just a shit. He was a bully. He was holding it down. He became that role. And sometimes when you talk to JP, he acts just like that. Let's be real, dude. You're not busting any kind of grapes. I don't care. You couldn't fight yourself out of a wet paper bag with scissors in your hands. Yes, I took that from Rizzy. But seriously, you are not, as Main Event would say, you're not built like that. You're not built for that. You're just not. So you need to start acting like the way that you really are. You gotta remember that this shit is customer service first. Personal last. And these other people that are trying to sit there and say, oh, well, that's Kamiya and Kellum's personal Twitter. No, the hell it's not. If it was, it would not have PG before that shit. It would not have that. These are not their personal Twitters. These are their personal business Twitters that they use for the tweet with customers. If it wasn't meant for that shit, you wouldn't even know who these guys were. You wouldn't know that Kamiya could speak English. You wouldn't even know that Kellum could speak multiple languages. You wouldn't know anything about these guys. So to be perfectly honest, once again, gamers are the reason why you guys are even relevant. The fans make you relevant. Not your sales, not your units sold, none of that shit. We make that happen. You don't make that happen. Now when you sit here and you make a good product, we back it up. But the funny thing is, people trash you guys all the time. All the time. And the funny thing is, I spend so many times on the forums defending you. And yet, I get treated like shit. And one guy has the nerve to tell me to fuck off. Now, I had to break this down to somebody, one of my close friends, and I had this conversation. I didn't tell them who it was, how it was said. The only thing they responded was, did you kick their ass? I said, the only reason why it didn't happen because it was on the internet. And they was like, who the fuck are you talking to on the internet? I was like, I wasn't even really talking to this motherfucker. All I did was show him a picture, hoping that he would find the shit funny. But for some reason, he thought it would be a better idea to tell me to fuck off. Now, that's not a very popular phrase or slang or vernacular or however you want to say it in the black community. I won't put this in a context where most black people will understand this. Basically, he said, man, fuck you, motherfucker. Basically, that's what he said. Now, if anybody just came to you out of the blue and told you, fuck you, motherfucker, you would have been like, oh, hell no, what the fuck is this about? What did I do? Did I step on your shoes? Did I look at your girl wrong? What happened? What happened? And if I did do something wrong, where did I do that at? Show me. Because if I fucked up, I'll own up to the shit. But if I didn't fuck up and you won't talk to me like that, you better be prepared to keep your head on your shoulders because I might have to snatch it off. You're going to have to try really hard to keep that shit on. But that's what I'm sitting there saying, I'm not going to catch feelings over this shit. That's stupid. And that's what I've been trying to say with everybody else, with all these people that so-called have opinions. I will state that you have a right to have an opinion, but you don't have the right to be a complete idiot. Right now, you guys are being complete idiots about this situation. It's stupid. It's unfortunate, but it happened. It should never happen again. Because the only 4 conversations that I had with Kamiya, which was about angel attack, I just put it a little bug in his ear. I was like, well, have you ever thought about taking that little mini game and making it a game for an app, for like cell phones or iPads? He said, I don't. It's like he basically just says what he always says. I see. He's even responded to me like that in Japanese. Luckily, Google Translate actually could translate that. Even though Google Translate sucks when it comes to Japanese, it's really bad. And then the next conversations I had, it was about Negro and Skull. I was trying to I came up with a character that I was going to use it as a parody. So the context of it was going to be a parody of a parody. So it was going to be a parody of Devil May Cry, and Bandana is a parody of Devil May Cry. So I was like, well, I want to do my own. And I was going to put out this character. I already had the designs done. It was looking nice. And when I told him about it, I said, would you mind seeing it on a t-shirt? And he's like, oh, I wouldn't mind. And I was like, cool, Kamiya is pretty cool. That's okay. I was like, that got me, revved up to do some more. Third conversation was around the Max Anarchy demo. I didn't know Kamiya didn't work on that. I had no idea. Most people didn't know. And then I saw later on, everybody was like, yeah, man, thanks for making this game. And he was like, I didn't make shit. Basically, I didn't do shit. I just worked for them. But I didn't make it. I didn't do nothing with that. I'm busy doing something else. Which we found out, which was for a game for the Wii U. Other than that, the last one that I did, the tweet, was about Blacker Baron versus Rodan. They pronounce it Rodan, but I say Rodin. It's Rodin. But anyway, I thought that would be a good idea, and he was just like, and that's it. He didn't say nothing really much about it. But other than that, I was just like, well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just stating that would be a cool fantasy battle. And he was like, I see. Once again, smiley face, I see. And another thing about being a grown-up, why the hell are you using smiley faces anyway? That's just wrong. Especially when you know good and well you're talking to a guy. That's come on, man. Come on, man. That's not a good look. Other than that, I want to also address how Main Event has handled the situation. I am not 100% with everything, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's wrong, and I'm not going to stop supporting Main Event for whatever he does. Now, if you know anything about Main Event, he has developed a situation where he's dealing with all this stuff. He's been doing it for, like he said, about 5 years. I've only been following Main Event for almost like a year and a half. So I'm just really now starting to get what he deals with. And especially when he's recapping the reviews and the information that people are getting mad at. I'm like, don't get mad at him for telling you some shit he saw. That's stupid. You're killing the messenger. Anyway, he's sitting there you responded to like another situation where I didn't really talk to anybody about, especially about Tekken Tag Tournament 2. And it's all about the online passes. I understand his opinion about that, and I respect it. My stance is I want to get more information on that before I make a decision. So if that means if I gotta wait till the game comes out to make that decision, I most definitely will. But I wasn't gonna pre-order the game anyway. I just have friends that most definitely will buy that game in a drop of a hat. So really that information is for them, not for myself. So I'm gonna reserve judgment, and I'm not gonna really talk to them about it. The only thing I've stated to one of my friends is that when it comes to online passes, the reason why this guy wants to do it is because of piracy and other miscellaneous crap. And I'm like, you can't really prevent that shit. Money doesn't prevent anything. If you know anything about money, the more you have, the more problems you're going to get. So how the fuck you think an online pass is going to stop anything? Okay, take that from there. So if Main Event wants to drop a pre-order, which I've seen in the past, he will. He will drop a pre-order quick. Real quick. He's doing it because he has self-respect. He respects himself and his own views. That if you're going to make a statement, this is how it's done. Okay? So if you ever been in his shoes, you would understand. Since you're not in his shoes, you probably never could feel them either. You might as well just fall back on that. All you got to do is sit there and just say, hey man, if that's what you want to do, I respect the fact that you stood up and did what you felt was the right thing to do. Now, as for myself, when it comes to Platinum Games as a whole, this will not stop me from being a consumer. This will stop me from talking to people on Twitter. I will no longer speak to these guys. I've already unfollowed one of them. I'm still debating on Kellum because I already know that was more of a misunderstanding than it was anything else. So I'm going to sit here and state that this is more of a learning process for everyone else, and just using this as an example. And basically just sitting there just saying that you don't have to be treated like that, but your actions after that is up to you. It's really going to be up to you. So if you see me, somehow you want to follow me on PSN, and you see me playing the Max Anarchy demo, hey, it's a demo. It's free. I'm not going to stop playing it because one guy was having a bad day because he had to catch a flight, and he's sitting here sending pictures of Instagram of all the wine he just drank. I don't care about shit like that. To be perfectly honest, he didn't make the designs. He didn't do anything more than help translate shit. Okay? That's as far as you go. You're not the director. You didn't do that much. You contributed, but you didn't do that much. So you're not going to sit here and piss me off to the point where I'm going to stop playing games. Because, in my opinion, I'm not going to let everybody get under my skin to the point where I can no longer have enjoyment in anything. I don't want to be like that. Nor am I implying that anyone else is like that. I'm just saying, as speaking for myself, I'm not going to let that situation stop me from having enjoyment in life. Because if somebody was sitting there saying, hey man, I'm with the Sprint to go pay my bill, and somebody talked to me and said this and such and such and such, best believe if that guy has Sprint, the only thing he's going to sit there and say, yeah man, I had problems with them too. Yet I still got their phones and shit. That Samsung Galaxy, dog. That Samsung Galaxy. They talking about that shit. That's what I'm sitting there saying. Just because something happened to you doesn't necessarily mean anybody else is going to give a fuck. It really isn't at the end of the day. So what I'm saying is, I'm already a customer. I've already paid for their shit. I can't get that money back. But best believe, I'm not buying Max Anarchy. I was going to buy it anyway until this situation happened. I really didn't care about split screen until somebody wanted to respond like an asshole. He responded like an asshole. If you want to sit there and speak in a flageless way, talking about I'm trying your patience, that sounds like a prissy little bitch. Don't ever talk to somebody like that unless you're going to sit there and slap them. What do you think you are, a prince? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's some androgynous bullshit. I don't understand that. Don't talk to me like that, because I'm not talking to you like that. But if you start talking to me like that, best believe I can put you in your place. Other than that, I'm still going to play the demo. I might still buy Revengeance. Because to be perfectly honest, this is a Kojima game. This ain't a Platinum game. This is a Kojima game. They just working on it. That's it. Because I don't see anybody stop playing Street Fighter or Asura's Wrath because of one company kept making those games. No, they stopped playing Capcom games. That's a completely different subject. These are just people who produce the games. These guys can lose, that company could go out of business at a drop of a hat. And they'll have to start another division. And then they'll have to start another division if that shit don't work. I mean, look at having the Clover. They got rid of Clover quick. So everybody's expendable just as much as they are. And when it comes to Bayonetta 2, we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about how people respond to this video. How people respond to me and where I stand. I'm going to sit there and say, hey man, I already spent my money. But you ain't going to fuck up my day because you had a fucked up day. I've been in customer service too, but I know better. I've never spoken to a customer like that. And you can ask all the people who bought my t-shirts, have I ever spoken to them like that? No. We have regular conversations on Facebook and Shuriken.com, and yet I don't speak to them like that. But when people speak to me a certain way, best believe I'm going to speak in the same way. But I want to change that. Ignorance plus ignorance ain't solving shit. It's still doing nothing. If somebody wants to speak to you like that, leave them alone. And I've just turned a leaf on that shit. Other than that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm just going to sit there and just state that the last thing I want to talk about with all this negativity, I want to talk about something positive. This is something I want to touch base and have more communication with Main Event about in the future, because within the next 12 months, I want to raise funds, my own personal funds, and hopefully with Kickstarter, to do a gaming lounge in Omaha, Nebraska. What has happened recently, one of our major arcades decided to move into a better location, quote unquote, and it is leaving a lot of gamers that were like myself. I personally don't drive. That's what my girlfriend does. She takes me where I need to go. Other than that, other people who need to take the bus and everything, we have another problem with the city. The city is allowing a certain bus company called Mac Transit, and they really don't give a fuck about us either. So to me, Mac Transit is like the Capcom of Omaha, Nebraska when it comes to transportation. They suck. Even when people go to City Hall and speak to them and say, hey man, we need a subway service, we need a train service, we need better routes. Omaha is not a small town anymore. It's freaking huge now. It's getting to the point that we're starting to annex other little so-called cities because we're growing so fast. And we got so many immigrants and migrants. I'm seeing so many people from Texas and Virginia. I'm starting to see less people from our own town. So I'm like, what's really going on? That's why our unemployment rate is so good, yet we have a state law that's called the at-will law. Basically means any employer can fire you for any reason without telling you why they fired you. They don't have to disclose it. Legally, they don't have to. So if you're gay, old, and you stink, they can still fire you for that without telling you that. So really, they're protecting really foul stuff. So the thing about Omaha, Nebraska is it's surrounded with a lot of corporate racism. That's what I call it personally. Corporate racism. I've been dealing with that. Like Hilton Hotels is not a bad company, but the Hilton Hotels in Omaha, I wouldn't recommend my worst enemy. Hell, I wouldn't even tell Kamiya and Kellum to come to Hilton Hotels because they're that fucking foul. They treat their people like shit. They treat everybody like they're expendable. And if these guys were sitting there working for them and they lose a job at the drop of a hat, I bet you they'll be a lot more humble. Way humble. So this is what I'm dealing with in my city. I'm not going to run away from my problems like I was trying to do when I thought I was solving my shit when I went to Dallas. The only thing Dallas opened my eyes to was the train system and the transportation. That was it. Everything about Dallas, it was like living in Omaha with way more black people. That was pretty much it. The same stuff that was happening in Omaha was happening in Texas, but in a different way. I was speaking more Spanish now. That was the only difference. I was speaking more Spanish. Other than that, I was like, man, I need to go back home because this is not really making anything better. What I want to do is make my own city better somehow, some way. And I think the first major step is going to be this gamer lounge. I want to get more in contact with a lot of these tournaments. I wanted to do stuff that you've seen probably on YouTube called, True Style. Basically, what's going on with Devil May Cry and all these games, you know. I also want to hold more semi-major tournaments in games that people are kind of putting to the side, but they know good and well that this game is still better than the new ones. Even the pros like Justin Wong and Yipes, they still play Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and there's a major reason for that. They've already put 10 plus years into this game, yet that game also has way more hype than Ultimate. When it comes to Ultimate, they're doing it for sponsorship. Let's just be real. They won't say that. I'll say it for them. You couldn't be going to California between New York and going to Japan between New York like that on your own money. There's no jobs out here, especially in your field of business and how you conduct yourself, that's going to allow that unless you have sponsorship. I feel that the people that's in Omaha, Nebraska should have the same advantages as these particular individuals. They're either just as good or better. And they've been playing video games and fighting games constantly since the early 90s, since Family Fun Center used to be the shit. Now it's just shit that's for sale. And these guys moved to what used to be a grocery store called Bag and Save. They turned a Bag and Save, a grocery store, into an arcade. And then call it the extra large version of Family Fun Center. Instead of keeping both Family Fun Centers open, they closed one and moved even further away from all the people that really come, to their place. So I'm sitting there saying what I want to do instead with this gamer lounge. I want to bring a similar setup to a lot of the other popular streams that's been going on. This would be stream based, but the thing that I want to do is some other things that everybody else isn't doing, and I'm not going to speak on it quite yet. I just want you to know that this is probably going to be primarily for streaming. And this is going to be a meetup place for a lot of our gamers who live in Omaha, Nebraska, especially Des Moines, Iowa. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to him because he came to a lot of our Omaha tournaments, and he would be mad when people didn't show up to play Capcom versus SNK, but they wanted to play Super Street Fighter. And he was like, man, I don't want to play that crap. I want to play you guys in this. That's what I want to see. I want more people involved with this. And the only reason why they're not playing that game anymore, because nobody is making any money off of that game anymore. I want to change that. Well, I'm going to wrap this up with you guys. All I can say is, I'll say in the same way Main Event always said, y'all be safe. I'm out.
Now, I want to thank Shatter for making that video, but there's more that needs to be said on this, alright? Because after that happened, then the fanboys came out of the woodwork. Now, look, guys, this is funny as far as I'm concerned, because you always yell about how you don't like to be disrespected. And I'm trying to gauge here what's going on. I'm sure I'll say this again sometime down the line in a video, alright? But a developer disrespects you, and it's okay for some reason. But if I call you an idiot, here comes the army. I don't understand it. So where is your exception? Where is your level of exception going here? Because if you don't like to be disrespected, then you wouldn't take it from anyone, correct? Okay, so I'm trying to figure out exactly how you operate, because as far as I'm concerned, you really don't have that much self-respect for yourself. You always talk about how you're real and how you want the truth, and then when I present you with the truth, you get mad. I don't understand this. You get mad. Obviously, you're not as real as you thought you were. It's really that simple. You need to take yourself, take a look in the mirror what's going on. But there's more. No. Now, I understand that, like I said, I've talked to some fanboys who are big-time Kamiya fans, okay? And they say, this guy, he goes off the handle at times. Sometimes you should just leave him alone. And now, mind you, I don't follow him. This is what other people are saying compared to, all the tweets and trolls that he gets, okay? Now, I put it like this. why doesn't Kamiya take that same advice and ignore the trolls? It seems like for an adult, and we're not even talking about from a professional level here, people, from an adult, you should not be acting this way. It's that simple. It has nothing to do with being a professional. We could talk that professional route, but I'm sure Shatter has already taken care of that, okay? Like I said, he's an adult. He knows better. There are no exceptions. And this is not just him. It's not just Kamiya. This goes for the gaming industry in general. Look how many developers have said so many immature things. Jaffe, Cliffy B, to me. I mean, the list goes on. But yet, people tolerate it. Why? If this is a business, like they try to claim it is, then you wouldn't do that, because other businesses don't act this way when it comes to customer service, right? Okay, so I'm trying to figure out why. I want someone to explain to me why it's okay to act that way. And I guarantee you, you will not find a logical reason why. Because him making a video game is not good enough. No. He makes a video game so he's allowed to treat people the way he wants. That's not how the world works. All right? It may work like that on the internet, but in the real world, yeah, there's some consequences to that. You have to understand that. But that's not all. And this is what I talk about, because Kamiya loves to say that he wants to say what he's going to, like he's some type of rebel. He's going to say what he wants, and you should leave him alone. But he doesn't understand that other people are trying to give him advice. And I'm going to show you a small example of what I mean right now about what he says on Twitter. And then when fans who have defended him time and time again, mind you guys, I've defended him on videos as well, you have to understand that when people are trying to give you some type of outside perspective and not curse you out, there's no reason to take your anger out on them. And once again, Kamiya shows that he does. And then the Bojacking fanboys come to his defense automatically. Anybody who says anything that doesn't agree with him 100%, it's apparently hating, and they just jump all over you. And it's sad to see that, because you should know by now also that there's always going to be two sides of a story, and there's always going to be a third perspective out there from someone who's impartial to all this. You have to understand that. But the fanboys don't want to hear that. They're already made up. They're going to defend him. I swear, if you would defend this community as much as you defend developers, we wouldn't have the problems that we have today. But instead, you rather kiss their ass. And then you don't want to be called an ass kisser, which makes no sense to me, all right? You fanboys, I talked about you earlier this week, and look at the way you reacted. You proved to me exactly what I meant. Exactly. And it's the sad part, because after all this happened, you know, Shatter went over to SRK and tried to let people know what was going on, and yet all they did was shoot him down. So first you already accused Shatter of being this Shatterstar person who apparently is a notorious troll on GameFAQs. You're already wrong there. Then you say him giving me information on a situation is crying? How is that possible? I guess everybody who sends me information, or any person who puts links in a forum and shows you what's going on, they're all crying? What kind of small-minded talk is this? It's pathetic that you would do this. You don't deserve to have the Kusanagi name. It's a disrespect to it, if you ask me. And on top of this, after you're wrong of, you know, saying that he's Shatterstar from GameFAQs, then you try to say me and him are the same person. What is this 5th grade tactic bullshit? What is that? You gotta be kidding me. You saw what Shatter looked like in the beginning and at the end of his video. Do we look alike? No. All right? Or are you going to say that all black folks look alike? Is that what you're going to try to say? Look, you know what? It's funny, because all these guys from SRK, and I'll put it like this, it's not all of you. I have talked to a lot of you vets, and you say, you know what? We stick to ourselves in certain parts. We don't talk to the rest of those people because they act a fool. I understand that. So what I'm saying is not towards all SRK. But all you clowns who don't like me over there because you're still mad over a video I did in November, it's August. Get over it. What is wrong with you? It's almost been a year, but yet you're still mad at me. And everything I have said since then about the fighting game community has come true, has it not? Okay then. But here's the thing. You don't like me. You haven't liked me since November, but you still follow me, which makes no sense. Why are you still following me? Then we find out that you guys are coming onto my page and then watching me. What is this, video game surveillance? What are you, the police? Is this how pathetic you are when it comes to trying to keep tabs on somebody? You're pathetic. It's absolutely a joke. If you don't like me that much, all you gotta do is get on camera. Because like I said, everybody has a camera these days. I'm not trying to hear it. There's one even on your cell phone. Show your face and say what you gotta say, but you're not gonna do that. You make 1,000 excuses on why not to do it. It's okay though. It's okay, because that's what you are. You're cowards. You're cheerleaders who sit in the background and judge instead of getting into the game. That's what you do. All right? That's why I'm not worried about you. But SRK, understand this. And I want all of the fighting game community to understand this. All right? SRK does not represent all of the fighting game community. Let's get that shit straight. SRK is a website, but it does not represent everybody. It never has. It never will. Because the fighting game community has always been around before the internet. Most of the fighting game community don't even go online and talk on forums. Like I said, this is a joke. It represents a very small number, a very small percentage of people who play fighting games. Let's get that straight, okay? Just like you see these other clowns on YouTube who try to do stuff and show strictly for the fighting game community, it doesn't represent all of them. It doesn't. There's people who still play here in fighting game communities who play for respect. They don't need sponsorships, all right? They play out of respect and they don't go online and play. No, they do it face to face, like men. That's what they do, all right? But it seems that everybody wants to take this Hollywood route for some reason. Understand, it is only a website. It will never represent all the fighting game community, and it never will. And that goes for every website. Let's get that straight, all right? But it goes to show you how pathetic that you will go, how low you will go to try and discredit somebody. Me and Shatter look about as much as that person did with their avatar, all right? Understand, you guys look stupid now. And here's the thing, once again, all you had to do was ask. That's all you had to do. If you really thought that we were the same person, all you had to say is, hey, Event, I just want to know, is this true or not? That's all you had to do. But instead, you decide to take it and run with it. Because you'd rather try to discredit somebody who's actually doing something than actually, back them. It's sad. And the thing is, you'll back the idiots, but you won't back the gamers who are actually trying to make a difference or trying to keep something intact. That's sad. It shows the type of person you are. And it shows just how salty you are as well. Because after this video, I'm sure all of you, all you that are mad at me or all you that are mad at him, you're going to get mad even more. All right? You won't come out and say, you know what? Yeah, we were wrong. It's whatever. No, but you're not going to do that. You'll just get even more mad, which makes no sense to me, instead of being mad at yourself. So, the only thing left I have to say is, what have you learned today?